Hi Chameleon users, I'm Mark Powers, one of the developers on the testbed. I'm here to tell you about a new feature we've added to Chameleon called DayPass. DayPass allows you to give access to Chameleon for a short period of time to anyone who wants to reproduce your experiment. Stay tuned to learn more. Imagine you are reading a research paper. In the evaluation section, you see a plot and have some questions. It would be great if you could easily run the same code the experimenters did and modify the analysis accordingly. But in order to do this, you need to easily gain access to not only the Jupyter Notebook that generated the graph, but also the resources needed to execute it and potentially reenact the experiment. This is the problem Chameleon DayPass is designed to solve. Many Chameleon users orchestrate their experiments using Jupyter Notebooks integrated with the testbed, allowing you to set up nodes, run code, and gather results all together. These can be published to our sharing portal Trovi, allowing other users to launch and run copies of your notebook. However, only Chameleon users with active allocations can execute notebooks. Getting an allocation can be a hurdle for users not familiar with Chameleon, which is where DayPass comes in. To enable DayPasses, the author of the experiment simply changes the sharing settings on their artifact, setting how long it takes to reproduce the experiment. Then the author can link to the artifact explicitly or via a QR code in their paper or poster. This allows anyone, from conference attendees to students to readers around the world, to request a DayPass for reproducing your experiment. Now, back to the article we saw in the beginning. Luckily, the authors of this paper packaged their experiment into a Trovi artifact linked in the caption, and enabled DayPasses. We click on the link included in the article and are taken to the artifact details page. Since we're new to Chameleon, we can't launch the experiment. However, we can request a DayPass. Now, we are asked to enter some details. These are to aid the author in deciding if they want to share the experiment with me. After submitting, an email is sent to the author of the experiment with the information from the request. Now, we need to wait for the author to review our request. We can continue to read on in the article. As soon as the author responds to the request, an email will notify us of the decision. Here, the email tells us the request is approved. The first thing it contains is an invitation link. The email explains how long we have access for, which is in this case 3 hours. After clicking on the link, we are taken to the project page, and the time on my access starts ticking. We'll click on the next link in the email, and go back to the experiment we're interested in. We are now able to launch the notebook. We can see all of the files included in the notebook. Every experiment will be different, but this one contains a README file to help get started, which gives an overview of the files included, and explains more about the experiment overall. The analysis file generates the graphs we were initially interested in. One change we can make is to modify the vertical axis on the left plot so it starts at 0, which would make it easier to compare the different trials. We'll add a line of code to do this. Now we can rerun the code cell and see the updated plots. The experiment file contains steps to set up Chameleon nodes, run code on them, and download the results. If we want, we could repeat the same exact experiment using the same configuration, or we could modify things. For example, maybe we want to modify the type of node this experiment runs on. Or we could increase the task time each trial is run for. We won't run these steps in this demonstration, but since we have 3 hours of access to Chameleon, we have plenty of time to do so. After the 3 hours have passed, we'll be automatically removed from the project. We can see how long we have left on the project page. If time runs out and we want to do more, we can apply for our own Chameleon allocation. Easy access to public resources is fundamental to supporting interactive science. We've just shown how a Chameleon experiment shared in a research paper can easily be reproduced by an interested user. We look forward to seeing how this is used by researchers to easily share their experiments. From all of us at Chameleon, thanks for listening.